It's our pleasure to speak with Brooke moments after the major announcement here about the First Amendment lawsuit that President Trump has filed against Google and the Facebooks of the world and big tech that has been really suppressing conservative voices. Let's talk about first America First Policy Institute, all about that and actually how they serve the American people.
Well, thank you for that. It's really great to be with you. The America First Policy Institute, we really just launched about 3 months ago as the President's domestic policy advisor. One of my great partners in crime was Larry Kudlow. And we started talking with other senior staffers towards the end of the first term that, all right, if we don't stay in the White House the second term, how do we keep the fight going? How do we make sure that the average everyday American knows that the America First agenda will live on, not just until the midterms and not just until the next president? You know, I think our side will retake the White House, no question, but this is a 100-year play. And I think the beautiful thing of the last 4 years is how transformational it truly was on every metric: poverty rates, jobs, criminal justice reform, energy independence, Middle East peace, bringing soldiers home. And every metric, I believe, more got done in those 4 years, especially when you consider the headwinds that we faced in that White House, than any president, I think, in my lifetime. So how do we keep that going? That's the America First Policy Institute.
Yeah, I mean, talk about the economy and how President Trump put the American people first, not China first, not any other country. And I think any other country around the world would want their leaders to put their country first. It just seems like common sense to me, but that's what he did. Let's talk about how you guys also keep an eye on the immigration, how that really is connected to national security.
That's right. You know, what we did is we took basically what would have been our second term agenda at the White House, and we turned that into 21 different policy centers. One of those is immigration. And so we have Chad Wolf, the former Secretary of Homeland Security, and John Zadrozny, the former White House advisor on immigration, and we are continuing that work from the America First Policy Institute. And obviously, with the current occupants of the White House and the current elected officials in Congress and running the show, there's not much we're going to be able to do on that front from the federal side until we win Congress back or get the White House back. But there are a lot of things the states can do. And so part of what AFPI, the America First Policy Institute, is doing is putting together policy proposals, packages, working with states like Texas and New Mexico and Arizona and California, those that are having to manage this unheralded and unprecedented sort of take over our country and what we're seeing with the numbers.
You know, we saw during the Trump campaign the America First agenda being a MAGA movement and things like that. I don't think people understood exactly what that meant until now, that the Biden administration, they now see that, wait a minute, it's a good thing to put America first. It's not seen as a racist statement.
That's right.
It's putting God, these flags, these God-given rights that are granted to us, putting that first and not the agenda of a corrupt government or maybe a socialist agenda.
You know, it's interesting. I've been in public policy for 20 years. I ran the think tank in Texas, the conservative think tank, the Texas Public Policy Foundation, before the White House, and I was Governor Rick Perry's policy director years ago. And what is fascinating is that, of course, we're going to put America first. I mean, of course, the men, women, and children of this country must come first. And of course, we're going to have pride in that. But I think what Donald Trump brought to the narrative, and some people loved it, some people didn't, was really an enthusiasm and a pride for putting our country out front. And it seems so simple now, but I remember him coming down the escalators and talking about draining the swamp. And sitting back in Texas, I didn't know him at the time. I would have never in a million years thought I'd end up being his domestic policy chief. But at the time, I remember thinking, if he can connect with the average everyday American who can't quite put their finger on what's wrong, they know something's wrong. They know Republicans and Democrats have gotten too big, too much control, government's grown too high. We have a businessman who's never run for office coming down an escalator talking about returning power to the people. That changed everything, and it's really amazing to now see how we continue to build on that movement.
Talking about the lawsuit real quickly, how can people get involved in that? A lot of people may be watching us right now and said, hey, you know what, I ran for a political office in the county where I live, or perhaps my account's been censored, or maybe my business that's conservative based has been shut down. What can they do to get involved, what we talked about today?
Well, let me say, if you have been censored, if you have been bullied, if you have been flagged, if you have been taken down, it is really remarkable the number of stories that we're getting right now. And I think that's really one of the magical things about this lawsuit and about the president's leadership, is that you can go to takeonbigtech.com, tell us your story, and maybe you become part of the class action. There are no doubt tens and tens and tens of thousands of Americans who tried to post something on critical race theory. flagged. Who tried to post something on mask mandates, pulled down. It's not okay.
And I think it started with a brief shadow ban, and then that went into, oh, nothing, your account is deleted. Oh, nothing, you're deleted forever.
That's right.
So where does it go from here? That's the scary point, and that's why we're here today. And God bless you guys. God bless
you.
President Trump for really putting himself forward. Real quick, before I let you go, how much of a rock star is Linda McMahon and your organization? I'm just the biggest fan.
She's awesome. She's so awesome. And you know what I love about Linda is that no matter where we are or what we're doing, people know who she is. Like, she's kind of a rock star.
She's kind of a big deal.
And a celebrity, and yet she's the one opening doors for you and me and picking up our plates. And she's the true epitome of a servant leader. And boy, our country needs more of those. And it is a gift to have her as chair of this organization.
It really is. Once again, that website to get involved on this lawsuit, it's important. It's not just for now, it's for 50 years from now.
That's right.
Website.
TakeOnBigTech.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.